I've seen a bunch of YouTubers do this, so I'm not positive exactly who to credit. I know that ASMR Sleep Therapy's done it, Sacred ASMR has done it. I'm just scrolling here. Lita Fox, Somnal Sounds. So, credit to all of them, but I'm very, very excited. I've got some random triggers to do. So, without further ado, when I say your name, you can fall asleep. And if I don't, I guess you're staying up tonight. I guess you're staying up tonight. So, let's get started. If your name is Trey, good night. And good night to Tilly, and Axel. Good night to Raymond. Sleep well, Raymond. Along with Waylon. Waylon, you can go to bed now. Good night. Good night to Jalen and Kaylin as well. Waylon, Jalen, Kaylin. Good night to Nikki and Miles. A special good night to Nikki. I hope you sleep well. If you are a subscriber who actively comments on stuff, I did try to get some of your names in here, but if your name is not said by the end of the video, please comment down below so I can get you in the next one, hopefully, if this is something you guys want to see more of. Good night to Jacob. Sleep well, Jacob. I hope you are doing well. Good night to Nina and Olivia. Sleep good, guys. I want to wish a special good night to Nora or Kyla. Good night to Audrey and Layla. Good night to Jason. Jason, good night. Sleep well. I'd like to wish a good night to Eleanor or William. I want to wish a good night to Marcus. Sleep well, Marcus. Good night. Oh, and when I say your name, you need to go to bed. So to everybody I've said your name so far, if you're still here, good night. Good night. Good night. Sleep. I didn't mean to bump you there, but sleep. Okay. Laisha, Talia, Natasha, good night. I feel like there's something on my cheek. I'm pretty sure actually there's something on my cheek. Okay, it's fine. Good night to Cindy, Sharon, and Candy. We have Georgia here. Georgia. And of course, George. Good night to Liam and Levi. Georgia. Good night to Georgia and George. Georgia and George. Good night to Dahlia. Good night to Roman. Sleep good, Roman. Roman and Rowan as well. I want to wish a special good night to Isla and Eli. Good night. Close your eyes, go to sleep. Good night to Paxton and Peyton. dreams, sweet, sweet, sweet dreams to Nosh, Noah, and Nolan. Have I said your name yet? Good night, good night, good night, good night to Elliot and Juan and Julia. Good night to Julian and Macy. Good night. If your name has not been said and you are falling asleep, wake up. Wake up. Not your turn yet. Okay, can I do Harper and Namaya? And sweet dreams to Janaea and Paul. I'm gonna scan you real quick. Ready? Good. Okay. Good night, good night, good night to Chris, Krista, and Crystal. I hope you sleep well. I hope you special good night to anybody whose name is Connor or Greg. I already said Greg. Oh no, Katie. There we go. I have a list, I swear. Good night to Zahara and Zaniva. Good night to Carson or Taylor. Also, anybody named Baylor. Good night to, let's see, Elijah. Good night, Elijah. I feel like I've already said Elijah. Good night, Gary Gray. And Garrett. Good night, Summer. Good night, Autumn. Good night to Natalie. Good night, Portia and Delaney. Good night, Hadley and Haley. Have sweet dreams, Sharpay. Good night, Valera. And sweet dreams to Bella, Dyson, and Dawson, and Delphine. And finally, our last name of the night is Aubrey. Good night, Aubrey. And for our extra little bonus names this evening, we have Casey, Stacy, and Lacey. So